The salty breeze whipped through my hair as I stood on the deck of the ship, eager to begin our latest voyage. Captain Hyde had just hired a new crew, each man hardened by the sea, ready to take on any challenge that lay before us. Little did I know, the captain had a secret. As the days turned into weeks, the crew grew restless. We hadn't caught much, and morale was sinking faster than the Titanic. But then, on a quiet morning, the captain let out a triumphant yell. We had caught something big. Peering over the edge of the ship, I gasped in amazement. A beautiful mermaid was entangled in our fishing net. Her sapphire eyes gleamed with fear and confusion, her delicate fins trapped in the unforgiving ropes. The captain's grin could not be contained. This was what he had been searching for all along. A mermaid. He had been changing crews so often because he couldn't allow anyone to know his secret. "Dante!" the captain bellowed, his eyes gleaming with wicked excitement. "You must restrain her. We are about to embark on a journey far more profitable than any other." My heart sank as I looked into the captain's eyes, a darkness lurking within. I nodded, my mind spinning with the weight of his request. These men followed orders, but it didn't sit right with any of us. Weeks later, the ship finally docked, and the wealthy buyer was waiting with a cruel gleam in his eyes. My comrades and I exchanged concerned glances. Could we really go through with this? After our captain had departed, we discussed the terrifying event we had been duped into engaging in. We devised a plan because we couldn't tolerate the notion of allowing this atrocity to go on. Underneath the moonlight, we followed the truck carrying the mermaid, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to act. As the night progressed, an elaborate banquet unfurled in front of our eyes. We looked on in disgust as the wealthy gorged themselves on countless delicacies, and then there she was. The mermaid had been spread out. The mermaid was made the centerpiece of an elaborate table that was laden with a variety of delectable foods while she was in the throes of her suffering. Her once gleaming scales had lost their luster, her enchanting voice silenced by the weight of her despair. With a heavy heart, she had accepted her fate. Her eyes, once filled with wonder, now gazed into the endless expanse with a hollow emptiness, for she had given up on life, surrendering to those who imprisoned her. I felt sick to my stomach, and bile rose to the back of my throat. I never imagined that I'd be dealing with something like this when I decided to pursue a career as a sailor. As we tried to approach the mermaid, the sound of footsteps echoed through the grand hall. We froze, caught in the act by our captain. Without hesitation, he commanded the guards to tie us to chairs, our fate sealed. We were all confined and powerless. With no way out, we were forced to participate in this dreadful execution as spectators. The captain's laughter boomed through the room and terrified me to my core. He took pleasure in our anguish, anticipating the horrors that were yet to come. The captain took out his knife and haplessly sliced it into the mermaid's flesh while the wealthy guests watched in sadistic glee. Her sobs and screams were interwoven with the clamor of the celebration. The anguish and distress suffered by the mermaid brought tears to not only my eyes but also the eyes of my fellow comrades. I could stand it no longer, adrenaline coursing through my veins. I fought against the ropes, frantic to save her and end all this madness. But it was too late. In front of our very eyes, the corpse of the mermaid had been almost entirely consumed. The wealthy and opulent visitors took great pleasure in her anguish throughout the entire ordeal and appeared to relish in their depravity. Blood drenched their bodies, a chilling sight that sent shivers down our spines. Their faces, hands, and arms were drenched in a shade of crimson, as if they had been immersed in a pool of blood. The eerie hue crawled up their bodies, reaching the very peaks of their shoulders, a macabre stain amidst their chaos. The table was stained with blood, its crimson streams flowing down to the ground below, creating small puddles that spread like sinister omens in every corner. Their exquisite apparel was stained and splattered in a grotesque display. The air was heavy with the stench of death. We were held captive, trembling in fear, as the captain's plans unfolded before our eyes. In a chilling display of wickedness, my comrades met their gruesome demise, their lives abruptly snuffed out by a single merciless bullet to the head. Their voices forever silenced, they became haunting witnesses to this nightmarish and dark spectacle. Struck in the head, I found myself consumed by an ill-gotten gloom, a void that devoured me entirely. As I regained consciousness, a chilling realization washed over me. I was imprisoned within the frigid confines of an asylum. The days progressed into long, excruciating years as the awful truth of what occurred that fateful night faded into echoes in the wind. But a terrible yearning for revenge seized my whole being. I had no choice but to surrender to their cruel game since I was trapped in a nightmare. I admitted to deceiving and fabricating every single detail. I pledged a pact to reveal the terrible truth that hid deep beneath Captain Hyde's tortured soul. I eventually convinced them I was sane after a year, and the taste of freedom was like sweet nectar on my tongue. My quest for revenge had finally commenced. As each step brought me closer to the truth, I contacted former crew members who revealed more information about the captain's secrets. I found myself consumed by a relentless hunger for vengeance, driven to the brink of madness in a world shrouded in darkness. The evidence I unearthed revealed a sinister truth, exposing the truth with documentation. The day of reckoning came, and as I approached Captain Hyde on the dock, the sun was high in the sky. The putrid stench of decay clung to the air. It whispered through the salty breeze, a haunting reminder of the horrors that had led us down this treacherous path. As I approached the men on the pier, a chilling silence fell upon the air. The men, their eyes filled with an eerie knowing, slowly retreated, as if they had foreseen this dreadful encounter all along. Captain Hyde had forged a reputation as a wicked man, lurking in the underbelly of the community. "It's over, Captain," I declared, my voice laced with determination. "Your reign of terror ends today." His laughter echoed through the air, a mocking symphony that pierced the very fabric of time. "You think you can stop me, Dante?" he sneered. "You're just a pawn in a game much larger than you can comprehend." My trembling hand clung desperately to the cold steel of my gun. The insatiable hunger for justice gnawed at my very core. "Your time is up." With a sinister slowness, I crept towards him, my footsteps echoing through the silence. As I closed in on him, a malevolent grin twisted across my face, casting a haunting shadow upon my features. In one chilling motion, I raised my gun and unleashed a blast, the deafening gunshot shattering the silence. The bullet tore through his flesh, piercing his arm with a sickening thud. Blood spurted from the wound, staining the surroundings in a macabre display. Shot after shot, a horrible rage consumed me, as crimson droplets tainted the creaking wooden planks beneath our trembling feet. Each shot echoed through the air. With every passing moment, the truth hung ominously, ready to be unveiled. And then, in a moment of vulnerability, I unleashed a nefarious force, my gun mercilessly piercing its mark. Captain Hyde's body collapsed to the ground, his knees giving way beneath him. His eyes, once filled with determination, now widened in sheer terror and disbelief. My heart, a relentless drum, threatened to burst through my ribcage as I loomed over him, my breath shallow and ragged, fueled by a surge of chilling adrenaline. The tormentor was now the tormented, the hunter becoming the hunted. You dare defy me," Captain Hyde gasped, his voice a mere whisper. I looked down at him, a mixture of pity and anger in my eyes. "No one is untouchable, Captain. The truth will always find its way to the surface." And with those words, he took his final breath, his reign of terror coming to an end. The weight of his darkness lifted from my shoulders, replaced by the burden of a world that still needed saving. In the aftermath of Captain Hyde's demise, the truth was revealed to the world. The wealthy elites trembled as their secrets were unearthed, their twisted desires exposed for all to see. Although justice had been served, a void remained within me. The scars of that fateful night and the agony I witnessed were etched deeply into my soul.